So we're going to IKEA.
Yes.
I'm going to IKEA to do a hack on a set of sheets, to turn it into a set of sheets plus a duvet. This is what's on the agenda for a Sunday afternoon with a couple of lesbians. Alright, so I'm here with the flamingo pillowcase so that we can find a complimentary other flat sheet. However, it turns out IKEA does not sell flat sheets singularly anymore. Now I know I could go to a regular place, you know, like your Macy's, your Woodward and Lothrop if you're in the DC area, etc. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something which is a hack which will make life even more exciting, which is the hack of buying a second sheet set. So I have a duvet that's double-sided that matches both sheet sets. It's very exciting. This is a really poor thread count, and I'm going to match it with an equally poor thread count because I'm not a thread count snob. And I'm a cheap bastard. But we're gonna get a matching set in Queen to go with this, and we're gonna take the two flat sheets and turn them into duvet. More to come.
You didn't get black.
I did not get black because evidently they were a last chance, the sheets that were black in Queen, and everyone took that last chance before I got there. So we're going with white because white is perfectly acceptable and it's crisp, it's summery. We're going into the hot season in LA, so white is, I think, the right way to go in any case.
We did it.
Good girl. I don't need no stinking labels. Don't label me. No, please do. I am a lesbian, a butch lesbian. We're just looking for like things that are gonna be kind of gnarly, so it'll be hard to sew them and keep it straight. This side looks fine. Actually, all the sides look fine so far. Now, this could use a little pressing, so we're gonna press this. And also, you might find little threads. Just trim as you go. This is how I test my iron. Okay. Don't do that if you're new to irons. You could like spray a little splash of water, like flick a little water at it, and if it sizzles, then it's ready to go. But I'm very impatient sometimes. And really all I need to press is the edges, because that's all we'll be sewing. I mean, eventually you could press the whole thing, but that's not really how I roll, because frankly it's gonna get crumpled when you sleep in it, so I'm not precious. I also do not press my jeans. I don't really understand people who do, and if you're one of them, maybe you could write to me and explain to me why you iron your jeans. Okay, thanks. Alright, so now that we have pressed the edges of both top sheets, we're going to then connect the two top sheets, and Lucy here is going to help. She loves to get in the middle of my sewing. Oh my goodness. Alright, so always right sides together, and I'm going to pin it, and hopefully they're the exact same size. Cross your fingers. If not, I'm going to do a little adjusting as we go. So when you pin it, you always want to pin it perpendicular to the line of travel of the sewing needle on the machine. So here we go. I'm putting it every, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches, because I think I can control it. But if you are a little worried about, you know, the fabric getting out from under you, then you can put them a little closer together. It's really important to have an assistant when you're sewing. So we've come across a teeny tiny fly in the ointment, in that I bought sheets from 2 different manufacturers, and so they are not exactly the same size. And what I'm doing is I'm lining them up on the top and one of the sides. The other side has more white sheet than flamingo sheet. So when we get to that side, I'm going to do my quick fix. And I have a little bit of, it's not cheating exactly, but I have I have more than just a regular sewing machine. I have a serger as well. And what sergers do are they cut and finish an edge so that it won't unravel. So it's great. It's like a one-step process. If you don't have a serger, you can fold and then fold again to deal with any extra. And I'll show you both methods, but I will do the cheap and fast one. So this is a ratty old pin cushion that comes with like a little like wrist thingy. You can also have your pin cushion like a classic like this, but this one's a little more portable for pinning on the go as I'm doing right now. Okay, so here's what I was trying to tell you about, is that the white sheet is actually longer and wider than the flamingo sheet. So what I think we're gonna do is measure the length that we're gonna need to get rid of on the two sides, and then, hold that thought. So here we have a handy sewing gauge, and you see this thing here, you can move it and set it. It's got enough tension that it'll stay where you put it. So this is set at 1 inch. So I'm using it right now to measure how much extra we have at the bottom end of the white sheet. So it looks like we have 3 3/4 centimeters if you're looking from a metric land, or about 1.5 inches. On this side, the overage we have is about 1 1/4 inches. Aha. Okay, so that's what we have to get rid of. So I'm gonna have to move my assistant, and she's not gonna be thrilled. Lucifer, sweetheart. Oh, who's a good girl. Whenever you move a small dog, it's really important that you give them a cuddle and maybe blow a little raspberry on their belly. She'll be over in a second. So, okay, 1.5 on the bottom. So, so the one way we can do it is we can create a new hem by folding over 1/2 inch and then folding like this until it's about where it needs to be. And then you could just press this and then sew a line here. But as I said before, I'm going to cheat and use my serger. So sometimes with a sewing machine, you're going to be sewing something that's wider than the gauge is available to you. So for this one, they have some markings for different lengths from the edge that you want to put the fabric through. This right here, this ridge right here is where the cutter is. So I want to make sure that I mark 1.5 inches from there. I'll do it with a Post-it first. So I'm going to do it with a Post-it, which is sort of the easiest temporary way to get this information. Okay. This is me making a temporary mark on my machine to let me know where the edge of the fabric should be. I'm going to tape it as well, because Post-its aren't the best at sticking. Okay, so now when I run it through, I'll show you that the edge of the fabric is going to be over here. So this actually finishes it and cuts it at the same time. So I would say I was sewing for about 38 years before I got my first serger. So if you don't have one yet, don't wait as long as I did, because it really makes life super easy. All right, so turning on the machine, and we're doing the bottom. So I'm gonna get all the way to the edge. Okay, so the bottom, which is 1.5 inches too far. I'm just double checking, because you want to measure twice and cut once, always, same thing with sewing. And this is a cutter and a sewer. This lever, all the sewing machines have a lever to lift up the foot and put it down. So I'm just gonna position this right here. You'll see the edge, and put the foot down. I already happen to have white thread in the machine. It's pretty standard and useful, so I do have some specialty colors. And you just keep feeding it in. I have to, there we go. So I kind of goofed. I goofed in that this is the bottom of the duvet, and so I probably should have done the longer process of folding and then folding again, because I need a surface to either attach the ties or attach or do the buttons in the buttonholes. I think I'm not in trouble yet, because I'm just going to fold it over and make that that thicker edge for the buttons, buttonholes, or the ties. But my bad. If I had been on the ball. The next one is going to be so awesome because I will have learned from my mistakes this time. And that's another point about home sewing and home knitting, that some advice my mother gave me, which I thought actually was kind of good advice. So, especially for knitting. So with knitting, you want to actually, if you don't accidentally do it, deliberately add an error somewhere in your sweater or your scarf. And the point of that is you don't want it to be perfect because then it looks machine made, right? Like it's homemade for a reason. So there are plenty of imperfections in everything I do. So when you're using a serger at the end of the line, I'm just going to keep sewing for a while so you get a little extra, and then you cut it off. That's all you need to do. I now have even lengths, and I'm going to do that again for the side, and I'm going to leave the bottom open because we're going to have to do special things at the bottom. And you'll notice that when I serge this, it'll finish off this as well. It'll be interesting to see serge on serge, and you'll see it'll cut off this edge as well. All right, so tomorrow we're going to finish this up. We're going to sew around the edge. We're going to put in buttonholes and buttons. And we're going to attach twill tape to the comforter and ties, twill tape ties, inside this when we sew it so that you can tie this to the loops on the comforter. It's going to be fabulous. I couldn't find it at Joann's, but this is what you need. Twill tape. This is polyester twill tape. This is a poly cotton blend. It looks more cottony. This I think we'll put on the comforter, and I think this one, which is more lightweight, we'll put on the ties inside the comforter, inside the duvet. Here's a 1/4 inch. They come in 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. Either one is fine, and then we're just gonna do buttons. All right, that's it for today.